We finally have some more big leaks for the upcoming NCAA college football game that EA Sports is putting out this coming year. And I know there's still a lot of people that for some reason think this game isn't coming out, but it is 1000% coming out. EA's CEO just said recently that the game is being heavily worked on and it is coming out this coming year, and they're kind of getting into that final push now where they're really starting to have everything come together. But along the way, we've gotten a ton of leaks about this game, and today we've got more to share. Now, who's been providing these leaks for the last couple of years? It's been none other than Matt Brown from Extra Points. He's been able to obtain a ton of information about this game via open records requests, and he's gotten to see a lot of the specific things that these schools have sent to EA Sports. We're talking about game modes, we're talking about uniforms, we're talking about even specific fight songs, chants, and things like that for the game. And today we've got a bunch more to go over. So one of the things that he showed recently were the specific helmets that Colorado submitted to EA Sports. He said, in case you were wondering, here are the 3 helmets Colorado submitted to EA Sports as potential assets for EA Sports college football. They also submitted drone footage and hundreds of other photos of the fans, the mountains, and basically every possible angle of the stadium. And this kind of goes hand in hand on what we've heard from the reports over the last 2 years, that EA Sports wants to make this game as detailed and as authentic as possible. And while you would say, well, they don't really do that with Madden too much, the difference with this game is they've had multiple years to build it again pretty much from scratch and make it the most detailed game they've ever made. With Madden, they have to continue to release a game every year as part of their agreement with the NFL. This game does not have to come out until it's ready, which means they can actually get every little detail right like they used to in the old NCAA games. And we've heard that they want as many different uniform combinations, helmet combinations. They want every shot and angle of the stadium possible. They've told schools to literally send them thousands of photos of each stadium, the dorm rooms, literally everything you could think of, because they want the game to replicate real life as much as possible. If you can see something in the background of a stadium, they want to see it. So with Colorado, for example, the mountains and things like that, what do the fans do during the game? They want all of this info, and schools have been sending it in more and more as we get closer to release. Matt Brown also showed a few photos that were submitted from Colorado. This isn't all of them by any means, but you're not going to post, hundreds of photos on Twitter. So he's just showing some examples. You can see the walkout tunnel. You can see the statue outside the stadium. You can see what looks to be a building here. I don't know if this is just an on-campus building. They even have some pictures of fans because they want to make sure the crowds are realistic, the environment is realistic, the tunnels they're coming out of, the outside shots of the stadium. They want all of this detail for this game, which is making me more excited because it lets me know that they actually are taking this game extremely serious, and they know they only have kind of one shot to make a first impression with bringing this game back for the first time in 10 years. But hold up, stop right there really quickly. If you want to win some money and you think you know sports like even a little bit, then you need to be signed up at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy's pick'em game is one of my favorite things to play while I'm watching sports. They have a wide variety of player stats, and all you simply have to do is either pick higher or lower, and if you know sports at all, this is pretty easy, and if they hit, you win money. And the best part about Underdog Fantasy is if you sign up using my promo code RAY, they're going to give you a free play right off the bat. They'll give you a random quarterback to get a single yard. So if you sign up for tonight, for example, it would be Derek Carr to get a single yard, and you hit. If you sign up and you want to play for Sunday, it'll be Lamar Jackson to get a single yard. And no matter when you sign up, there's always going to be a free play like this, but they also double your first deposit up to $500, which is insane, meaning however much you deposit up to $500, they give you that same amount back in your account for free to play with, and you can turn that into real winnings. Again, at sign up, don't forget to use code RAY for your free play and your $500 deposit match. The link is in the pinned comment below. Next up, he's got some Bowling Green assets. He said uniform assets from Bowling Green. These are some of the pictures that they sent over to EA with the different uniform combinations, and these are looking pretty clean here. Again, EA wants to get as many different uniform combinations as possible for all of these major schools, because most schools in college football, they wear a different amount of uniforms. It's much different than the NFL. You get multiple different helmets. You get more than just 2 or 3 different uniform combinations. College football, they get crazy with it. Some teams, have 8 different combinations that they could wear, and EA wants all of this info because they want the game to be authentic. So you're not just gonna get the game and expect to have home and away jerseys. You're gonna have all the little details, especially for these bigger schools. Matt Brown also showed some pictures that Bowling Green submitted of the mascots as well, because this is another thing that EA said that they want to nail. They want to make sure the mascots look as good as possible, the different things that mascots might wear, the different actions that they may do on the field after touchdowns, turnovers, whatever the case may be. So here are some more assets that were submitted from Bowling Green as it pertains to their mascot. Moving on here, we have some Kennesaw State jerseys that were submitted, and again, some of these schools may be smaller than others, but Matt Brown is basically just getting any information he can from literally any school. He said there's certain schools that he's not able to get information from because they deny his request, and there's some schools that you simply just can't request the files from, I believe, if you're not in state. But a good majority of the requests that he does make come back. So some of them are bigger schools, some of them are smaller schools, but here's an example right here of some uniform assets for Kennesaw State, some more Kennesaw State helmets and mascot images right here for the EA Sports college football game that were submitted to EA. So as you can see, you know, some schools are submitting more than others. Some of these are probably half done as well because they're not going to submit everything at one time, because the stuff that EA is actually asking for from these schools is quite a bit of information, and you'll see that when we get to some of these spreadsheets shortly. There's a ton of information they're asking. They're leaving no stone unturned. So a lot of the spreadsheets and information that's been submitted is mostly half done by a lot of these schools because it's stuff they kind of have to do in segments. They're not just going to do it all at one time because it's so much info that they have to submit. Now, hey, really quickly, if you're still here at this point of the video and you're enjoying the content and you never want to miss out on any further updates as it pertains to this game, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on, because as we get closer to this game, we're going to start getting a lot more news and even some gameplay footage before you know it, and you don't want to miss any of that. So here, for example, is one of those spreadsheets, and this is for Ohio State. Now, I don't know how well you'll be able to read this on screen, but basically, this is the spreadsheet for all of the band songs and crowd chants and stuff like that. And basically, you can see they got a bunch of different game moments on the left. So you got pre-team run out, you've got the team run out, opening kickoff, other kickoffs, first down, third down, fourth down, touchdowns, successful two-point conversions, field goals, takeaways, big defensive stops, and then they also just have slots for other moments or traditions, whereas like some schools might have a moment in the game where they play a specific song at a random point of the game. We see that with a lot of schools. And you can see that Ohio State has already submitted quite a bit of info. They've submitted the different cheers, the Buckeye battle cry. They've submitted some band songs, some, you know, even regular songs. Some of these schools are sending like actual license and music that some of these schools play, like Jump Around at Wisconsin, for example. And EA is looking to actually license a lot of this music that they can, so that they're able to put it in the game so that it's as authentic as possible for each school. Moving on here, we have Oklahoma, who also has submitted quite a bit of stuff. And again, some of this is going to be hard to read, but basically here, Oklahoma has submitted not only the band songs and, you know, some of the other stuff, but they've added notes and they've even included the audio files. And that's the thing. They're even asking for specific audio files of the band playing songs and of the actual crowds doing the crowd chants, because they want to put the actual band and the actual crowd into the game. So this is all very interesting stuff. And he got this for a bunch of schools. He's got about 20 different schools on his Twitter, so I'm not going to show them all. But here is Rutgers, for example. They've submitted some stuff, and they've even added some specific notes. Some schools and institutions are even going way more in depth with this and adding literally every little detail, where some schools are kind of just going to submit the basic stuff, so it really all depends. But they're, you know, putting all the specific crowd chants. It says right here, for example, moments and traditions for Rutgers. It says, going in or out of any breaks, we play the beginning 15 seconds of guitar riff of click, click, boom. So like that's how specific they're getting, where they want to put those little moments in the game. We also got Texas Tech here, for example, where on the opening kickoff, they play Grove Street Party from Waka Flocka. So again, they're submitting these files, they're submitting these specific things, because when you got the kickoff for a Texas Tech game, you may hear this in the game. Now, this doesn't mean that EA is going to license literally every single song that every single school uses, because that's just not feasible. That would become extremely expensive for a game that is already going to be pretty expensive to make, but they're definitely going to license the big ones. Like you can definitely expect Enter Sandman for, I believe, Virginia Tech, Jump Around for Wisconsin, like some of the really, really big ones, but every single school probably not going to get the exact licensed music, but you're going to probably see a good bit of it. And at this point, all the info we've gotten from this game, from just a detail and presentation perspective, it further proves the point that this is definitely not a Madden reskin. If you think this game is going to be a Madden reskin, based on the information that we have seen schools submit to EA Sports and the type of information and images and detail that EA is asking each of these schools to submit, I don't really know what to tell you, because Madden does not have anywhere near this level of detail, especially when you're factoring in the crowds and the songs that are played during games and the mascots and the team traditions. We don't see any of that in Madden. But the fact is, they've had 3 to 4 years to build this game, and there's no real rush to get it out. so they can add as much detail to it as they want. And the fact of the matter is, if this was going to be a Madden reskin, this game would have been out a long time ago. If it was just a cash grab to just reskin Madden and just have college uniforms and player names on the Madden game, they could have put this out 2 years ago and started raking in money, because regardless, it's gonna sell because the game's been gone for so long, and just the fact that you could play with college teams alone is going to sell the game. The fact that it's not out and we're seeing the detail that they're asking these schools for proves that they're doing a lot more with this game than they did with Madden, and that was usually the case in the greater days of the NCAA franchise. We saw more detail and we saw deeper modes and we saw way deeper presentation and customization in those games, and it looks like when they come back, they know that they have to deliver that again, because the NCAA football gaming world is a much more niche and passionate group, whereas the NFL gaming market is much more casual. Obviously, you have hardcore players that play it, but you have plenty of casual NFL fans that just want to pick up the only football game that's out there, whereas college football is a much more niche market. It's a much smaller audience than the NFL market. If you're buying a college football game, you really, really love college football, and they know that they have to appease those fans, and it looks like they're doing so. Now, if you want to know about the 10 biggest features that have already been confirmed for NCAA college football, make sure to check out this important video right here on the screen.